Hey, Nate Miller here. Welcome to my live stream question and answer session. We're going to get going in just a minute, but I'm going to wait a little bit. I've got to pop a couple of links here in the comment section. I'm going to wait just a second for people to hop on board. But while you're waiting, I'm going to tell you I am going to be giving away a hard copy of my best-selling book I co-authored with Brian Tracy and other leadership experts. It's called The Secret to Winning Big, and if you stay tuned, I'm going to teach you how to win a copy of this, and I will sign it and send it to you at my cost, so stay tuned. All right, I'm going to wait a second while we're waiting for some people to join. If you're on here live and you don't mind, just pop in the comments where you're watching this from. Always curious to hear that, but I'm going to get on my page here on my phone and drop a couple of links in the comment section where you can download a couple of things. So let me get over there. I hope you're having a great day. It is a beautiful day here in Arkansas. We are actually under our average temperature, and it is just unbelievably beautiful here today. So I hope it's beautiful where you are as well. All right, there's one link dropped. Let me grab the next one. And we'll get this going. I have several great questions today. I can't wait to answer those for you. I received several via email and private message. All right, let me get this popped in. Last one here. That should give everybody time enough to get on. All right, let's get this thing cranked up. Welcome to my leadership and performance question and answer session. This is a live session. I have five questions already that I will be addressing that people have sent me, either messenger or through email. They wanted some to be anonymous and asking these questions. So that's no problem. You're on here live and you have a question or something I'm talking about brings up a question. Be sure to pop it in the comments. I'm reviewing the comments and the live stream to answer any questions that you may have. So feel free to ask those questions at any time. This is something that I will be doing on a weekly basis. 1 o'clock. I got a lot of positive feedback about last week's. Lots of good, help that I was able to help people with and answer some questions for them. So I really appreciate people sharing that. But if you're on this video and you don't know anything about me, or who's this dude that's on my Facebook trying to tell me what to do, let me just give you a little bit of background about myself. My name is Nate Miller. I come from a healthcare background. I'm a physical therapist by background, but I quickly got into leadership positions within my organizations and became a CEO of a rehab hospital, a physical rehab hospital, at the age of 29, responsible for a $20 to $30 million budget. And from there, I went on to be the CEO of acute care hospital, and all my hospitals that I was the CEO of, I received major awards. The last hospital, the acute care hospital, was ranked, I believe, 114th out of 5,000 and something hospitals my last year. Very, very well awarded organization that I was able to lead. We received lots of national recognition for the care that we were providing. So I left there and became the president of a healthcare consulting firm, traveled the country, got to work with organizations that were struggling and needed turning around. And I noticed as I was doing this that there was a theme that was pretty consistent, and it was that these organizations that struggled lacked inspirational leaders, or leaders that connected with people that really could inspire and motivate them to peak performance. So that is what I thought I would do, and I became a professional speaker, speaking on inspirational leadership. Because of my techniques and methods, I've been featured on CNN, NBC, CNBC, Fox News, and ABC. And like I said, I co-authored the book, The Secret to Winning Big.
with Brian Tracy. It hit 5 bestseller lists. Very proud of the work that we did in this book, and I'm going to be giving away a copy of this book. So stay tuned to the end, and I will tell you how you can get a copy for free. So that's just a little bit about myself. Let's get going into the questions. So the first question that I received was, how do I know I am successfully leading change management? And this is a kind of a very deep and complex question, so I'm going to kind of peel it back layer by layer. The first thing that you have to know, one, is why you are changing. What is it that you need to change? So you need to be crystal clear about that, and you need to be able to communicate that in a very clear manner to your organization. So that's the first thing. And the second thing that you need to do is you need to have your key performance indicators. So if you know why you're changing and you know what you need to change to, you need to have some indicators that say, okay, here's where we were before we changed. Here's these indicators. Here's the measures. Here's where we are after we changed. And here's these measures. And let me just tell you, you need to have, if it's truly lead change, lead management change, then change management, you need to make sure that you have some indicators of job satisfaction and employee satisfaction or satisfaction with the workplace environment. Some measures where you can really hear from the employees, feel from the employees. This could be a survey, one-on-one meetings, whatever you want to do to make sure that because here's why this is so important. People do not like to change. Even if the change is going to be good, we are creatures of habit. We like the way things are. We know the way things are. And even if we know that it's going to be better, we still fear that change. We fear the unknown. So you're going to have to help people through this. And one way to do this is to have some indicators that tell you their job satisfaction level before, during, and after the change. And so that leads to the next thing that you need to do is you need to really over-communicate with your employees during times of change. And this needs to be done one-on-one. This needs to be done through meetings. Everybody needs to have an opportunity to express their stress and anxiety or issues that they're having or whatnot about the change. And you really have to be out there among your people. You really have to talk to them, and you need to go out to them. Don't expect them to come to where you are. You need to go to their work environment and do this on a daily basis while you're going through change. Really hear what they're having to say about it. Really try to seek to understand the issues that they're dealing with, because whenever you have change, there'll be things that pop up that you don't think about. So letting those individuals have a voice and being able to say, hey, y'all overlooked this, or hey, we didn't think about this. So really communicating well with your team is a must whenever you're going through change management. So that's how you tell that you're successfully leading change management. Make sure you have your indicators and make sure you're out there talking to your people. All right, second question. How do I determine what to delegate and what to do myself? This is really comes down to a little of the art of leadership or the art of management. And the way that I coach people how to do this is to really look at the functions that you can easily shift over to other people. So make a list of the things that you could easily shift to other people, and then make a list of the key functions that only you can provide, or if it's things that everybody on your team can provide, list them out as the things that you would have the most impact performing. And so, some people, I've dealt with managers that want to delegate everything, so they're just kind of, they're ready for anything to come in. I don't recommend that. Like, I seriously worked with a CEO one time that delegated everything out. And he kind of had an easy job. He was older in his career, and he was just wanting to ride out to retirement. So he delegated everything. I do not recommend that. And I've also worked the other end of the spectrum where managers and leaders thought that only they could do everything. Like there was nothing that anybody else could do. They were the best at everything, and they were going to, keep everything for themselves. And that is a huge problem, maybe even bigger than the first problem, because two things here. You can't do everything, and you can't do everything well. So if you try to do everything, you're going to do everything mediocre at best. The second problem with doing that is you're really sending a message to your team that, hey, I don't trust you. I don't trust you to do these tasks. Only I can do these tasks. So you really send a message to your employees that you don't trust them, and you don't value their skill set. You don't value their level of performance that you can hand off and delegate tasks to them. This is really important because one of the things as a leader is really instilling that confidence and belief into your employees and your team. So when you have a task that they understand is valuable, that they understand is a high priority, and you say, I trust you enough to do this task, I know that you can do it, you're going to do it great, and you hand it to them, man, have you just boosted that employee's confidence? Have you just given them a huge pat on the back, and you've allowed them a chance to grow and expand in their ability? That's the best way to test out people to see what kind of level of performance that they're going to have. Give them tasks of significance. So back to what I'm originally saying here is make a list of things that are easy to delegate out, and make a list of things that you can handle yourself. Make sure that that list is appropriate. You keep the things that really are necessary for you to perform, and delegate out everything else. And it's going to be scary. You're going to think, oh, I can't let somebody else do this. I got to handle this myself. But I can't do it all. Let them handle it. Give them an opportunity to show you what they can do, and coach them. Show them how you do it. Coach them on what needs to be done. Don't just hand it off and run. But just check back in with them and say, hey, you having any issues with that task I gave you? Any questions I can answer for you? What problems are you having with it? What are you finding easy? Really communicate well with them about that. So that, in a nutshell, is how to handle delegation. All right, let's move on to question number 3. This is kind of a long question, and I kind of paraphrased it a little bit, but is it okay to address performance issues for one or a few employees in a meeting if I don't call them by name? So can I address performance issues one-on-one or for a couple of people in a group meeting if I don't call them by name? It is something that everyone could benefit from hearing. This is a common leadership mistake that people make, especially people that are early in their leadership or management career. It's a mistake that I made repeatedly when I was early in my career. And this is something where the problem is you need to address something one-on-one with someone, and you're not doing it. You're taking the easy road out, and you're addressing it as in a group and hoping that the person that needs to hear the message knows that you're talking to them. It is a horrible, horrible mistake, and here's why. The first thing is, and I just recently experienced this too, the first thing is when you're in a meeting and you're in a group, the one person that you're talking to or the two people that you're talking to are sitting there thinking, yeah, y'all need to quit doing that. Y'all need to quit doing exactly what they're talking about. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves, when they're the individual that you're trying to address the issue with. The second problem is the people that you're not addressing the issue with are getting very frustrated that you're talking about. They feel like, okay, are they talking about me? What are they talking about? Did I do something wrong? I don't remember that. Why didn't they come to me and tell me? So it really creates anxiety and frustration within the people that don't need to hear the message. It's like preaching to the choir kind of thing. And they get very frustrated, and their job satisfaction decreases because of this. I struggled with this. One time I was talking to my mentor, and there was an issue that I needed to deal with, and I was trying to rationalize and tell her all the reasons why I didn't need to address it head on. And she just kind of grabbed me and said, Nate, sometimes you need to address things head on, and you just need to bite the bullet and do it. Face it and do it. And I've been trying to think of every way that I could to not deal with it head on. I rationalized all the reasons why, well, if I don't address it, maybe this will happen and it'll go away, or maybe this will happen and go away. Sometimes people in leadership positions, oftentimes, do not like to deal with conflict. And sometimes we just have to deal with conflict head on. So that's why People that like to avoid conflict deal with things in a group setting in a very general manner, and it is not only not solving the issue that you want to solve, it's actually creating more problems by frustrating the people that don't need to hear the message. So if there's one or two people that are having a performance issue that you need to address, you need to address that head on with those individuals. And you may think, okay, this is something that happens quite frequently. I want to address this in a group setting, just as a reminder to everyone to not do this. That's okay to do that, but first you make sure you have addressed it with those individuals first, and then you address it with the group just as a reminder. Hey guys, just a reminder, we don't need to do this, we don't need to do that, we don't need to gossip about other people, whatever the issue is. That's okay, but make sure that you address the issue one-on-one with the individuals that need it first. And conflict phobia is one of the 7 deadly sins of leadership that I've written about in my 7 Deadly Sins of Leadership ebook. I put a link in the group in the comment section. You can download that for free. You can read all 7 leadership sins that are commonly carried out and how to overcome those sins. So it's just a good reminder. Feel free to enjoy that free resource. All right, let's move on. I don't see any comments or questions. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is, it is hard for me to get everything done I have to do, let alone check on my team. How do I make time for it all? This is a tough one. This is something that, I think I've answered a lot of time management questions lately. It's something that I feel like a lot of people are dealing with. I feel like the way that the workforce is and the way that the corporate culture and world is now, that people are expected to do more and more and more, and it's becoming harder. People are trying to be lean, people are trying to trim, and they're really compressing, the work of 6 or 7 people into the work of 4 or 5 people. So people are really struggling with how to get everything done, and they have to be very efficient. And not only that, we also are dealing with a term that Sam Horn calls infobesity. There is so much out there. If you look at everything that you have access to online, social media, news outlets, YouTube, whatever it is, there are lots of things that are competing for our interest and time. And sometimes we get a little wrapped up in those issues. We want to check Facebook, we want to check Twitter, we want to see what's going on Instagram, we want to see what our crazy president has done, or any number of issues that we feel like we need to, take time to check out. That causes issues as well. So just let me say, before I really dive into this, another free resource I have that I put a link into the comment section is my weekly accelerator method. It is 20 questions that you can answer on a weekly basis at the start of your week or the end of your week that really helps you hone in on what you need to spend your time on. That is a free resource. I highly recommend that. You can download that for free as well. All right, so how do you get everything done? And this is something that I've talked to a lot of people about. One, you just have to manage your time. You have to have a time management process. I spoke a little bit about this last week. And you have to eliminate distractions. You have to plan your day, and you have to plan your time, and you have to eliminate your distractions. We have biorhythms that we naturally follow, and one of the ones that most people are familiar with is the circadian rhythm. It's our sleep-wake cycle, but we have lots of other natural biorhythms, biocycles that we have within our body as well. And one of those is a way to deal with our attention. And that is why TV shows are usually either 30 minutes or an hour, because that is about the expanse of our attention. And if you also will notice, we go through, periods of times where we have commercial breaks in there as well. So what we have to do is we have to have times of focus, where all we're doing is focusing on our work, focusing on our task, focusing on our job, with complete removal of distractions. Research indicates that when you are in a period of productivity, if you've ever been in the flow, or even not even in the flow where you're really things become effortless and you're accomplishing a lot. Just if you're being productive and you get interrupted, research indicates it takes you 20 minutes to get back to the level of productivity you were at before you were interrupted. So how many times in an hour does it take before you've almost completely blown that hour's productivity? 3. So how many times in an hour do you check Facebook? How many times in an hour do you check your email? So what I recommend is doing a period of 50 minutes of uninterrupted time, uninterrupted work. That is the peak amount of time for our attention. And you get in your office, shut your door, turn off all your notifications, turn off your email notifications, turn off your Facebook notifications. Any notifications you have, you can figure out how to turn those off, put your phone on silent, sit it in your drawer, and work for 50 minutes of uninterrupted period of time. Then you take a break, answer your emails, answer, voicemails, whatever you need to do. Turn your ringer off on your phone too. Deal with everything that you need to deal with. Take a 5-minute break. You can even do a mini meditation. Get a snack, get something to drink, and then you go into your next 50-minute cycle of uninterrupted work. That pays huge dividends. So that's the first thing, is try to really figure out how you can carve out uninterrupted time. Because research indicates the way that our brains are functioning now in the corporate world, it is creating symptoms that mimic attention deficit disorder in children. That's how bad the distractions on our mind and our time are. So the first thing is you have to have time management. That's just a quick and little recommendation I have about doing 50-minute chunks of uninterrupted time. But manage your time. And the second thing is, if you're in a leadership position, your team is your responsibility. So there will be periods of times where you have a lot going on, a lot of projects. It's going to take up a lot of time, and then it kind of ebbs and flows. But when you have those periods where you're really stressed, you're pushing hard, things are really taking up a lot of your time, you may have to come into work late. You may have to work through lunch. You may have to work a little later. But that is what you have to do as a leader. You have to dedicate the time to make sure that your team is taken care of. So don't ever be in a position where you feel like, because your work is so overwhelming, that you don't have time to check on your team. Your team is your number one priority. And it can kind of go back to, when I was talking about delegating tasks. Are there things that you're doing that's taking up your time that you need to delegate to other people? Are there things that other people can, have an opportunity to shine on? Are there other things that people can take off of you to allow you to free up to check on your team? Think about that as well. But make sure that you're making time for your team. And the way to do that is making sure you have a time management program, delegate things that you can delegate, and if you have to, come in early, stay late, whatever you need to do to put the time and effort into taking care of your team. All right, let's move on. The last question I have is an issue that somebody I worked with several years ago contacted me about. I'm going to take a sip of water here. My throat's getting a little dry. But it's an issue that, and let me just pause here. If you've joined us late or just kind of getting to us now, if you have any question that you'd like to ask of me on leadership performance, whatever it may be, feel free to drop that into the comment section. I'll kind of scroll through there and look at those and answer those for you. I'm answering questions that I've already received, and I'm on my last question. So this question, this is something I dealt with recently. A person contacted me, and she's in a management position, but her supervisor is new to management, and her supervisor is having a very difficult time. And as we got into the root of the issue, we realized that she was not addressing issues that needed to be addressed, and she was trying to be friends with all of her employees and make everybody happy. So we kind of worked through that, ferreted through that, and figured out that that was going on. And so just want to talk a little bit about that, because that is another very common management issue that happens, especially people early in their management career. I shared an example with you My first leadership position, I was a physical therapist and I was working in a big outpatient clinic. And so I was working just as a staff physical therapist, and the clinic director took another job and left. And so I had the opportunity to apply for the director position. A couple other people in the clinic applied for it as well. I was chosen to be the clinic director, and immediately my relationship with my coworkers changed. But I was of the mindset that the relationship did not need to change, that we were friends before, we could be friends later, nothing needed to change, and it was a huge mistake. And I say that not to say, oh, once you're in a leadership position, you're up on a pedestal and everybody else is down below you. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is when you become a supervisor, that is your role and responsibility. And you need to focus on that responsibility first. And there was one PT, we were great friends. We played basketball together, we worked out together, we hung out. We immediately, he thought he would take advantage of our friendship, and it really led to us, I wouldn't say not becoming friends, but there was a lot of tension there. And as a matter of fact, one Christmas, when we decided who was going to be off when, he decided that he wanted to have New Year's off and travel to another country. And I was like, I've already got the schedule done. You know, everybody asked off. We worked around, we put this jigsaw puzzle together to make sure that everybody was taken care of. Everybody got some time off. All the patients were taken care of. And he became extremely frustrated with me that I wouldn't let him off. And that was probably the lowest point in our relationship. But a year and a half later, when he decided to move on, we worked through it, and he decided to move on. He came to me, he told me, he said, you know, we were great friends, and when you became my supervisor, I was really excited about it, but then I got very frustrated with you. But you know what? The way that you did, the decisions that you made, the way that you made me toe the line, it made me a much better therapist and a much better individual, so I want to thank you for that. So, you may think that by being everybody's friend, you're doing them favors, but you're actually not. It's just like children, you know, and I'm not comparing your workers to children, but in a lot of ways, the same principles apply. If you let a child do whatever they want, that's not a good road to go down with children. They're going to take advantage of that, and they're going to do things that they shouldn't do. It's the same way with your coworkers, especially when you've worked with people as a coworker level and then you move into a supervisor level. It's very difficult. But when you try to make everybody happy, what happens invariably is that everybody gets angry because you won't make a decision. You won't make choices. You just tell people what they want to hear. And pretty soon, you know, at first people like to hear what they want to hear. But it doesn't take long before people figure out that you're just telling them what they want to hear. And there's going to be a time when you have to decide A or you have to decide B. And what happens is these people that, you know, want to be everybody's friends and don't want to make anybody mad, they try to come to a compromise where A is not happy and B is not happy. So instead of making a decision where 50% of the people will be happy and 50% of the people will be unhappy, they don't make a decision where 100% of the people are unhappy. So that is a dangerous road to go down, and one that I recommend that you really focus on. That's something that can be, I've seen many managers and leaders crash and burn because they were trying to be everybody's friend and make everybody happy. That's not your role in a leadership position. Your role is to make sure that you are doing your job, and you make sure that you're doing the right thing, doing your responsibilities, and sometimes that includes frustrating people. That's something I learned early on, especially when I became a CEO and had about 300 employees, that every decision that you make is going to make somebody mad. It could be, you know, several people, or it could be one or two people. You might make a decision that 98 people out of 100 are happy with, but 2 people are frustrated with. So don't make decisions based on whether that's going to make everybody happy. Now, with that being said, of course, try to make decisions that are the best for the organization, that will make the majority of people happy. But sometimes the things that need to happen are going to upset people. So don't shy away from that. Again, you can download, the link is in the comment section, my 7 Deadly Sins of Leadership. That's a great resource to look over those 7 deadly sins, but check those out. And those are all of the questions that I've received via email. Any other questions that anybody has, I'm going to look at the comment section here just to make sure I'm not missing something. All right. I don't see anything. So let me tell you, thanks for joining today. And if you're watching this by replay, thanks for joining by replay. But let me tell you, I am going to be giving a signed copy of my best-selling book, The Secret to Winning Big, that I co-authored with Brian Tracy. Hit 5 bestseller lists. You can see the bestseller sticker there. This is, it's a hard copy. It's not an ebook. I will ship this to you at my cost, and I will personalize it to you, personally sign it and personalize it to you. All you have to do is share this video. So everybody that shares this video is going to be registered to win a hard copy of my book. And I'll do a live drawing to announce the winner. But you have until Friday, this Friday, which is, let me just look at the date here. This Friday the 11th. By 6 p.m. this Friday the 11th to share this video. If you share this video before 6 p.m. Central Time, this Friday the 11th, August the 11th, you will be registered to win a hard copy of my book, personalized hard copy of my book, The Secret to Winning Big. Listen, I thank you for taking the time out today. I hope that you found some value in this. Now, I'm going to be doing this every week, so let me share with you, if if a question comes up or you just didn't feel comfortable sharing a question today that you had in the comment section, here's how you can share for next week. The first way is to share on the post, so I will be doing a post announcement for the next live stream that I do. You can share your question there, or you can send it to me via Facebook Messenger, or you can email it to me at info@thenatemiller.com. If you would like to remain anonymous, that's the best way to do it. That's what these people that asked me this week have chosen to do. But I'm going to be doing this every week, right now at 1 p.m. Central Time, every Tuesday. And I would love to have the opportunity to coach you, to answer any questions you have. If you have any follow-up questions from this, be sure to reach out to me. If you're watching this on replay and you have a question about something that I mentioned today, be sure to put that question in the comment section. I will loop back around and check it out, and I can answer it there in the comment section. That's not a problem either. But hey, thanks for your time today. Listen, I hope you have a great week. I hope that you get after it and you hustle and you make a difference for you and a difference for your organization and a difference for the world this week. All right, I will see you next week. Everybody have a great week.